Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm travelling across Australia with my wife Lisa.
With me!
In this episode, we make our way from Western Australia across the southern coast and up the east, checking out the deserts, the city, and everything. This country is huge and it's packed with wildlife, beaches, nature, and everything in between. So join us as we drive across the width of a continent. So we go a hell of a long distance in this video. We go from Esperance in Western Australia and we head east. We go through the Nullarbor, which is a big fat desert full of nothingness. Then we go down towards Adelaide, through the Grampians of Victoria, down to Melbourne to see where we used to live, up through Canberra, through Sydney, Coffs Harbour, Gold Coast and Brisbane, where we are now, which is a journey of around 5,000 kilometres. Although the reality of it is we did a lot more than 5,000 kilometres because we didn't just do that route, we were stopping in various places on the way, as you'll see. So yeah, hell of a drive.
In for a treat.
Get the snacks. Now honestly, in the Nullarbor, we didn't film maybe as much as we should have done, but to be honest, there's nothing to film. You're going through a massive endless desert for days and days and days on end. We put a lot of hours in and we managed to cross it in 4 days. 4 full days of driving, which is pretty good going, to be honest. This here is the crossing from Western Australia into South Australia. Now, though it's all one country, they take these crossings very, very seriously because of biosecurity things. So we weren't allowed to take any fruit, vegetables, and there was a whole heap of stuff that we're not allowed to take. And it's just because this country is so huge, it's treated as if it's multiple countries. This has to be my favourite of all the big things we've come across in Australia so far. A giant kangaroo eating Vegemite. Doesn't get more Australian than that.
The most exciting thing that's happened in a long time, hey?
After 2 days of driving, we've arrived in South Australia and we're right on the cliffs in the Great Australian Marine Park apparently, so we're going to head over and have a look. Never in my life have I seen such a vast expanse of nothingness. This Nullarbor plain is something else. I've been around and this is true wilderness. Now we tried to wild camp as much as we could on this route just to cut costs, and I reckon about 80% of this journey was wild camping and about 20% was at campsites. This particular campsite was in Adelaide when we finally made the crossing. Now coming back into civilization was the craziest thing after being on the road solid for 4 days in a desert, and then bam, Adelaide. In the hills just above Adelaide there's an old German village called Hahndorf. So we took Lisa there, being a genuine bona fide German. And we thought we'd go check it out and see if it lived up to expectations. And to be fair, yeah, it was pretty decent. I would never have known which one to get. With a German backdrop. It's a video, isn't it? Now back in 2018, Lisa and I lived in Melbourne, and one of our favourite national parks to go to was the Grampians, which is where we are now. Stunning views, amazing walks, and I've already made a couple of videos on this place. You have to check it out, the Grampians National Park. Next up, City of Melbourne. Now back in 2018-19, we lived here for 6 months only, but it felt like a lot longer. We really made a connection with this place, and we made a really good friend in a guy called Matty who lived in the same apartment complex as us. It's called Acacia Place, and we've got some really good memories here. We lived on the 4th floor, we had a little balcony, the apartment was a shoebox, but it was perfect for us. Another brief pit stop in a place called Bairnsdale, which is about 3.5 hours east of Melbourne, to check in with an old friend of ours before getting back on the road and continuing our very long journey. Now just inland from the coast by a couple of hours is the Australian Capital Territory, which houses the city of Canberra, which is the capital city of Australia, a place we've never been before, so we thought we'd better pay it a visit.
Right onto Parliament Drive, then turn right to stay on Federation Mall.
So we made it to Canberra. This marks my every state and territory in Australia visited, and every capital city of every state and territory as well, all within the last 6 years, which is pretty crazy. Seems like a beautiful place up in the mountains. I didn't realise how mountainous and sort of European it would look here, but it's really pretty. Nothing like WA, no desert at all. It's just everything's green and everything's alive looking, which is beautiful. Both Lisa and I don't really follow politics, although we're very grateful for our visa. But when we were there, we had a bit of a mooch around. We found this Lego version of the Parliament building, which was, to be honest, our highlight. And then we realised we didn't have a clue what we were doing, so we got out of there. Fair to say we're the only car in Parliament underground car park with a rooftop tent. Probably the only person here with crappy old trainers on as well. We made a break back for the coast, and this is Byron Bay, which is a beautiful spot. And then we drove straight up through Sydney, out the other side, and now we're in Nelson Bay, where we parked up for the night and realised we had a koala right above our tent. How amazing is that? I've never seen such an active koala. It was incredible, it was awesome. Have you visited the Coffs Harbour?
Coffs Harbour?
Yes.
Coffs Harbour.
Welcome to Coffs Harbour's harbour. Now you're probably thinking, why are you going so fast? And that's a fair point. But the thing is, we've already done this part of the drive before. We drove from Melbourne to Gold Coast back in 2019. So honestly, at this point, we're just chasing the sun. So currently we're in Coffs Harbour and we're climbing up to the top of Muttonbird Island for the view. Turtles, manta rays, giant cuttlefish. What? I didn't even know that was an animal. And whales. I like whales. Whales. They do have whales. Spine. Curious by nature, whales often raise their heads to observe their surroundings. So with that, we jumped back in Nigel the Ute and carried on our journey north following the coast. And we came across Byron Bay. Now Byron Bay is somewhere we've been to a few times in the past and we really truly love it here. We could never afford to live here, it's unbelievably expensive, we're completely priced out. But it's an amazing place, and the best depiction of this place is if you watch the In-Betweeners 2 movie when they come to Australia, they go to Byron Bay and there's the guy with the guitar at the campfire. Perfect demonstration of Byron Bay. But if you're not a massive hippie, don't let that put you off, because the nature here is beautiful and the beaches are awesome, and koalas. Now on the walk up to the lighthouse, someone pointed out that there was a koala in the tree, so we stopped to check him out, and then we noticed there was actually a second koala. There was a baby koala that was with him that was a little bit further up the tree. So us and a group of other people that formed all stopped and watched him for a bit, and yeah, it was pretty cool to see them doing their thing. There's the baby koala. He's got the fluffiest ears you would ever imagine. He looks like a toy. He was a bit unsure climbing on that tree, looked like he might fall down a couple of times, but he didn't. He was just munching on his eucalyptus, loving life. Another thing we absolutely love about Byron Bay is that the biggest beach there is a dog beach. There's happy dogs all over it, loving life, so that's amazing to see. Now 45 minutes north of Byron Bay is a place called Collangatta, which is the start of the Gold Coast, and it's where New South Wales meets Queensland. Now this is a place that we very much are thinking about moving to. The beaches were amazing. There was people everywhere, they seemed happy, there was stuff going on, there was people surfing, there was people playing games. It was a really nice place to be. There was lizards bathing out in the sun all over the place. Yeah, 10 out of 10. We really liked this place. We liked it so much we stayed here a few days, and I think this might be a place that we try to move to. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. "40 minutes north of Collangatta is Surfers Paradise, and this really is the heart of the Gold Coast. This is where all of the action takes place. This is the centre. This was Schoolies, which is when all the school kids finish school and they come into party, and this is a Lamborghini covered in condoms, which is something you don't see every day. Kind of summarises Surfers Paradise, I think. We continued north for about another 3.5 hours to Noosa Heads, which is one of our favourite places, if not our favourite place in Australia. And this was as far north as we went. We had an amazing time here. There's birds and wildlife everywhere. Super humid. It's really getting up to the tropical Queensland at this point. Well worth a visit. Unfortunately, it's not somewhere we could ever live because we couldn't afford it. It's super expensive to live in Noosa Heads. But that said, it'll make an amazing weekend trip destination, and I'm sure we're going to continue to visit this place. But damn, it's expensive. What the fuck? So after 8 weeks on the road, from Perth to Exmouth, and then from Exmouth all the way around the coast, following it all the way around up the east, past Brisbane, we went all the way up to Noosa, and now we're back down at Brisbane. Now the owner of this house we know from when we did our working holiday visas here 5 years ago, and she's such a nice person. Meet superstar DJ Lana. Woo woo woo! Luckily, she's been kind enough to put us up here again. So is Nigel the U, and he's been finally emptied out after 8 weeks, 15,000 kilometres. And there's all of our stuff just out on the floor. And we're hoping to give Nigel a proper good clean and get ready for our next part of the adventure, which is finding our house for long term and actually setting our lives up here in Australia. Now at this point it's mid-December and we don't have anything resembling Christmas, so we went to IKEA and bought the coolest Christmas tree we could find. What do you think? Pretty awesome, eh? Now in between applying for jobs relentlessly, we like to get out and we like to go to the Gold Coast because it's the nearest good beach and obviously it's near to where we want to live. Is it warm?
Yeah, alright. Not cold.
We're also trying to squeeze in a bit of a parking lesson every day for Lisa. It's a pretty massive truck and yeah, I think practice makes perfect with this one.
Do you feel like mine was bigger?
I feel like you've got more salmon than yours.
Okay, we can swap.
Actually?
Yeah, we can swap.
I'm not good at this stuff. The weather up here is pretty unpredictable, especially in the evenings. Although, the massive plus side is, these huge storms happen in the summer, which stops everything drying out, which reduces the risk of fires, which is awesome. Have you ever seen a hailstorm in 31 degrees before? What the hell? It is a hailstorm. It's a 31-degree hailstorm. But before you know it, the sun comes back out, everyone gets their surfboards, and life resumes as usual. We've still got so much to do to get our lives up and running down under, but we're working on it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.